It's time for another tale from the glass-guarded world, with Brian as Paxton the human cleric, Ashley as Tara Dane the human fighter, Andy as Finn Mac Caspinner the gnome wizard, and me, Mike, as the DM. In the previous episode, Tara, Finn, and Paxton defeated some goblins and rescued some farmers, but Paxton fell under the influence of a magical glass sword that was turning him into an obnoxious jerk. After avoiding a fight with some bandits, the party came upon some dwarves traveling slowly to Newtower, near the old bridge across the broken river. Finn hatched a plan with the dwarven leader to wrestle the sword from Paxton's hand, but the dwarves launched their surprise attack on Paxton a bit earlier than expected. All of a sudden, Duradult says, "Now, get him!" And all the dwarves jump up and run at Paxton. We're going to roll for initiative.
Okay.
I look alarmed and draw my sword.
Now scream to her in Dwarvish, "They're allies! They're helping us with Paxton!"
And do I hear him yell in Dwarvish?
Yes.
Doesn't
That
necessarily
seems-
what he's saying.
I don't know what he's saying, but that seems super suspicious to me that he's yelling to her in a language that I've never heard before.
Oh, you've heard Dwarvish, you just don't know what they're saying.
Well, I mean, I've never heard them speak to each other
I
in
see,
Dwarvish,
yes.
and they're not dwarves.
That's right.
So,
Paxton, what'd you get for initiative?
12.
Finn.
4.
Tara.
14.
The dwarves got an 18.
Wow.
Okay.
Holla.
Only 8 of them can attempt to tackle you at a time. All right? So 8 of them attempt to grapple with you, which means I have to look up the grapple rules.
I'm going to yell out, again in Dwarvish, to the dwarves, or to the group as a whole, "Don't touch the sword. Just kick it away from him, or push it away from him."
Grappling. When you want to grab a creature or wrestle with it, you can use the attack action to make a special melee attack a grapple. If you're able to make multiple attacks with the attack action, the attack replaces one of them. The target of your grapple must be no more than one size larger than you and must be within your reach. Using at least one free hand, you try to seize the target by making a grapple check instead of an attack roll. A strength or athletics check contested by the target's strength, athletics, or dexterity. Acrobatics. The target chooses an ability to use, so you can choose to oppose them with strength or dexterity. If you succeed, you subject the target to the grappled condition. They're going to make a bunch of grapple attacks on you with athletics, or you want to try to evade with athletics or acrobatics?
Athletics for sure.
Okay.
But before we do that, I do want to point out that as a human, it says here that they're fond of sprinkling their speech with words borrowed from other tongues, orc curses, elvish musical expressions, dwarvish military phrases. So I'm assuming that whenever he said, "Don't touch their sword," I heard blah, 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 sword. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I know something's up, and I know that he's giving the commands, and I am enraged.
Okay. Paxton is furious.
At Finn.
At Finn. All right. So
Awkwardly.
of the first 4, let's do the first 4. Make 4
Athletics
checks.
Okay.
I'll put these in order and I'll compare them one by one.
13.
All right, you beat the first one.
5.
Failed the second one.
9.
Failed the third one.
16.
You beat the fourth one. So you have 2 people that have grabbed you. Now I have 4 more. Okay, go ahead and make 4 checks.
19.
Succeeded.
18.
Succeeded.
9.
Failed.
6.
Failed. So that means 4 dwarves have a good solid grasp on you, and they begin bashing at your hand that's holding the sword. They just start slamming, stepping on it, kicking it. That's their turn. Now it is Tara's turn next. What do you want to do?
Okay.
You can see there are 8 dwarves. There are 4 more dwarves that are just sort of standing around, jumping up and down, trying to see what's going on, what's happening. There are 8 dwarves that are trying to grab him, 4 of whom have succeeded, and they're all trying to smash his hand with the one that's holding the sword.
My free action is going to be to try and ask Finn in Dwarvish if he knows if there's any way to touch the sword.
I'm not sure. I just know that if we can probably kick it or punch it away from him, as long as you don't grasp it, it should be okay.
Okay.
The only thing that I've noticed is that he doesn't let go of the sword, so it's probably something with his grasp.
Am I able to get in on this dog pile of dwarves?
One of these doors would have to be pushed aside. You could use your action to tell one of them to get out of the way, and then maybe on their next turn they could do so.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you could try to grapple one of them and move him.
I'm going to approach the pile and say, let me see if I can pry it out of his grasp.
One of them nods to you, so on his turn, he'll when it comes his turn again, he'll move out of the way. When someone is grappled, you have some options for what you can do with them. Grappled creature's speed becomes 0, can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. The condition ends if the grappler is incapacitated. The condition also ends if an effect removes the grappled creature from the reach. Doesn't say. That brings us to Paxton. It is Paxton's turn. Paxton, you want to try to escape the grapple?
Let's see.
You can use your action to escape. However, I think you can only escape one grapple per turn. Yeah, you may use your action to escape, so you must succeed on a strength or a dexterity check that would be contested by their athletics check.
I am going to cast Sanctuary on myself.
Now, how does that work if you're being grappled?
So it says you ward a creature within range, which will be myself, and until the spell ends, any creature who targets the warded creature with an attack or a harmful spell, and I would assume that trying to
Grappling
punch
counts.
the sword out of my hand is
that
part of
counts.
that, must make a wisdom saving throw, and on a failed save, the creature must choose a new target or lose the attack or spell.
So here's what I'm going to say. What are the components of that spell? Verbal.
Verbal, somatic, and material. I still have a free hand,
You
right?
do have a free hand, but they're also wrestling with you in a way that it's going to make that really difficult. Maybe I'll say, I'll let you make a dex check. And if you can make that while being grappled, then I'll let you cast this spell.
All right, I'm all for that. 20.
Okay. You have cast Sanctuary. They're going to have to make a wisdom save, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So when it comes to their turn, if they're going to try to keep grappling, they're going to have to make a wisdom save. All right. So the other thing I want you to do is I want you to make a strength check.
Okay.
Remember, you have your bonus from your strength bonus now.
18.
18. You hold on to the sword. That brings us to Finn. What does Finn want to do?
Okay. I can't really get a clear shot in there, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. I am still going to try to do magic missile then.
On me? Okay.
That would work.
Because, yeah, I don't have to take aim. The missiles would just guide themselves
That's
to
right.
him.
And they won't hit any targets in between. So,
Yeah. All right. So I
Well,
need to do... Yeah, go ahead.
if you're targeting me, it's not an attack roll. If you're targeting me with a harmful spell,
you
have
would
to
need
make...
to make a wisdom save.
Yeah.
Yeah. You still need to make a wisdom save if you're going to hit them. I'm just saying you wouldn't hit any of the dwarves, but you do need to make a wisdom save if you want to try to target them with a spell.
Would I get partial cover? Because I'm covered in dwarves?
You are covered in dwarves. Does that matter for magic missile?
No, because I don't actually make an attack roll. I just
Right.
I make a damage roll, not an
Yeah,
attack
I don't
roll.
think it matters.
Automatically.
Total
hits.
cover would matter. He'd need, because then he couldn't see you. But partial cover, I don't think matters for magic missile. So, all right, you need to make a wisdom save.
Okay. What's the DC I gotta clear?
13.
Wisdom save is +1. 6.
All right, you can't cast the spell. You can't bring yourself to target him.
Okay.
So that's
I just feel too bad, and I already have so many people attacking you. I start
see you-
casting the magic, and I stop.
I see you starting to cast magical missile on me, and I yell traitor at you.
All right, and now we're back to the dwarves, and so these 4 dwarves that are holding you, I'm gonna count maintaining a grapple as making a form of attack, so they need to make wisdom saves.
Right? And it's DC 13.
Yeah,
Alright.
because the grapple takes your attack action.
Right. So 2 of them just lose interest and stop trying to grapple. Now there are still 4 more that are trying to grapple you, and they all need to make wisdom saves. And only one of them succeeds, so he tries to grapple you, and you need to make an opposed athletics check.
Nat 20.
All right. So now there are only two dwarves holding on to you. All right? And now it is... I'm sorry. That was wrong. One of them moves out of the way. One of them just backs up and lets Tara through. Right? And that means it is Tara's turn. So, Tara, what are you going to do?
Can I bash his knuckles with the pommel of my longsword?
Sure. Make an attack roll.
Make a wisdom check
Make
first.
a wisdom save first.
I got a 6 18.
Yep.
That
You may
passes.
attack.
Total 17.
He is
bash.
grappled. Actually, I think attacks against you now have it.
And he also doesn't have. He's not using his shield right now because
Right.
it's on his back.
that
So
is-
he has an
and,
AC of
and
16.
he has a sword in his hand. So yes, that's a hit. Normally, you don't let you do called shots, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count this as another kind of strength check that he'll have to make. All right. So when we get to his turn, we'll do that. Paxton, it's your turn. I want you to make 2 strength checks.
Okay.
What's the DC he has to beat?
I'll just tell you if he
Okay.
succeeded or not.
First one's 10.
As she smashes your hand and just, you can't help it. Reflexively, you let go. And you're free. And the sword just lands in the ground there. And all the dwarves look at each other. And the 2 of them that are still holding you say, "Oh, can we let them go?
Yes.
Can we yeah? You sure?"
Oh, wait. Paxton, are you okay?
I look white as a sheet. I'm terrified. I don't really understand what's going on, but I want to get away from this situation.
Kick the sword away from him. Hold him.
All right. And they kick the sword, and they're still holding them.
Since I'm guessing you're no longer fighting them.
Right.
I just want to go up to him and do an insight check to see if I can see if he's still weird. 19
Yeah,
plus insight.
He doesn't seem like the belligerent jerk that he was a little while ago.
All
He
right.
seems confused and terrified, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I'll wave to them to let him go.
Okay, the dwarves sort of let go, but they're still keeping an eye on you.
Thank you very much for your services. Make sure to keep your men away from that sword.
That was fun. What should we do something with the sword? What?
Here, I'll go ahead and make sure that it's okay. And then, can I have my unseen servant wrap it in like a sheet and put it in my backpack?
Sure.
All right, I'll do that.
The dwarf says, we could try to destroy it.
Well, there's still some knowledge to be learned, and we are going to a town filled with wizards. At the very least, we can learn what the curse was.
All right, you be careful with that though. It sounds like wizard stuff. No offense.
Of
Wizard
course.
stuff though.
Well, let's celebrate. And then, as we sit down, explain to Paxton what has been happening for the past couple of weeks. How much do you remember?
Or it's just a couple days.
Oh yeah, past couple of days. How much do you remember?
Do I?
You remember everything.
Yeah, I seem I'm not very talkative, and you can tell that I'm embarrassed of my actions. Like, that is not who I am at all.
Oh, well, that's quite all right. And it's all good, buddy. We good.
I kind of look a little guilty, like, sorry.
Yeah, your hand hurts.
Yeah,
she gave you a big bruise there with the pommel of her sword.
I understand, and I forgive you.
A little bit.
Well, the dwarves will share lunch with you anyway, and you get back on the road, but the dwarves are moving slower than you, so I assume you continue past them. The 8th, the next day, the road becomes busy this morning. The morning of the 8th of 6th month, you pass the Dengrin crossroads in the morning, and traffic to and from 4 and Dengrin makes the previously quiet ride become a bit noisier. Paxton, you focus on keeping the horses and cart under control. In fact, go ahead and make an animal handling check.
8.
Ugh. Okay, the horses are a bit nervous with all the sudden increase in traffic and some of the noise. So you're going a little bit slower than you'd hoped to go. By afternoon, you can see a tall, solitary tower rising above the trees. And Paxton, the last time you were in this area, this was not here, this tower. As you draw nearer, you can also notice that there is a town in the area, which used to be dilapidated and now shows new signs of life. The town doesn't have any walls, but there's a giant pile of stones on the outskirts, and the air is filled with dust and the sounds of hammers and chisels. Occasionally, a large construct of some kind, probably a golem, walks by one direction or the other, carrying a large stone. Some of these stones are finished, some are unfinished.
I stared at it in awe.
They're big. I mean, even compared to you full-sized humans, they're big. South of the town, you can see there's a single stone building, maybe a quarter mile outside of the rest of the buildings. There's a single stone building that may have once been stately, but it looks abandoned. It's fallen into disrepair. A large group of children runs by, chasing a dog with a stick. The dog has a stick, that is, not the children. Another group of children sits in a half circle on a small hill, and you can see a wizard giving them some kind of magic lesson. Paxton, you realize that the place looks so different that you no longer know your way around this area.
Do I know anyone in the town, or do I recognize any of them as people who might have been there before, or do they all look like...
They all look like newcomers. They're not all clearly with the magistracy, but some of them might be. You're not sure. Certainly the wizard is. And in fact, Finn, you know this wizard. He's instructing them in magistracy with magic. He's giving them... he's teaching them the right way to do it. And you can clearly see the broken river high up in the western wall of the world, spurting intermittently to the ground. You can hear with great delay the sound of the water crashing into the large lake that is to the west, although you can't see the lake from here. You can see signs on the outskirts of town labeled Old Bridge, Zauberfeld, and the domains of the keepers of arcane knowledge, and they all point northward.
So can I ask a question about the spurting river?
Mm-hmm.
It is intermittently spurting. It's not just a smaller trickle of a stream, right?
That's right.
So it seems like maybe there's the same amount of force behind it. It's just getting blocked, possibly?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
So you head into town, I suppose? Is there anything else you want to do before you head into town?
No, I just start to fidget at the thought that there's actual magistracy wizards here, and that I may be around some people that can actually know some things.
As you
I'd
ride
be
into
offended.
town...
If I knew.
Yeah.
I said I'd be offended if I knew.
There are 2 inns. There's the Pilgrim's Rest, which is an old, classy, but somewhat run-down inn. And then there's a newer one, the Tower's Gift, which is an inn catering to younger travelers that are interested in the tower, particularly those on magistracy business. As you near the inn, I guess which inn do you want to go to? Do you want? You're gonna have to stop for the night. It's getting later in the day by the time you arrive. Do you want to stay in an inn, or what do you want to do?
I grab my backpack and I tell them, well, I don't know your plan, but I'll be staying at the inn near the magistracy. You're more than welcome to join me.
Yeah, I'm going to stay at the Pilgrim's Inn. I don't trust these magistracy folks.
What? Where are we gonna hitch our cart up?
We should actually... that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and find the stable and pay someone to keep it for the night. Would the inns have that? Do we need to go?
You could leave it at an inn. Which inn do you want to take it to?
Let's take it to the inn with the magistracy and has less likely to have people starving that would want to steal from it.
Okay.
But it may be a little bit more expensive.
All right. So I assume you'll all go with the wagon as you go to that inn, and then Paxton, you can go your separate way. All right. So as you near the inn, you can see there's a man wearing filthy robes, and he stumbles toward your cart, and he's clutching a bottle in his hand. He sort of raises it toward you, and he says, "Welcome to the Newtower. Life is grand here. Spare a copper for old Gorwolf, and he will show you the sights, yeah?"
How about I spare a copper and you go on your way?
Don't you want me to show you around? You're new here.
No.
Yeah, I look at Tara.
I'll show you where the best drinks are. Gorwolf knows where all the best drinks are.
No.
I just keep walking.
Fine.
I can still throw him a copper, right?
Okay, throw him a copper.
I'll throw him a copper, but just keep walking.
All right.
So you two are going on into the hotel after that? Or into the inn?
I'm
I
not
figure
sure.
the best place to spy on the magistracy is in the magistracy inn.
DM's note. Brian has just realized that this NPC, Gorwolf, was a character from a test recording we did before recording the main campaign. Poor Gorwolf was badly treated by the PCs, not the PCs you know, some other ones. And this may have led to his current state. We might release this test recording at some point as 2 special episodes.
I feel a spiritual connection to Gorwolf. I don't know why, but this name sounds familiar to me. So I give him a gold piece, and I'm like, yeah, Gorwolf, show me around.
That
All
just
right.
clicked in my head.
Gorwolf smells terrible. He's a beggar. He explains that he used to be a wizard's apprentice, and he had a rough life, though. He's going to show you around a little bit. He tells you some of the stuff about the town. There's that abandoned building outside of town used to be a pilgrim's temple where pilgrims would stop and visit back when this was the Gods River. The tower is he telling you it's a grand modern structure, although he has a bit of sarcasm in his voice. But it sounds a little bitter about something. He's definitely drunk. He points out that there are lots of guards wandering around the town, and they're keeping the town safe from anyone that would want to cause trouble. But he also explains that at night, these giant blobs. They come out sometimes, and they try to eat the food, and you don't want to mess with them. They are big, scary gray things. Not unpleasant. There's a farmer's market in town that the farmers do a lot of business trading and selling their goods. There are warehouses for storing goods if you're interested in that, although a lot of them are filled with stone at the moment, or there's stone stacked up around them. If you want some magic lessons, someone here can put you in touch with proper instructors and academies. A lot of people have moved here. There are a lot of houses, some of them even 2 stories. The fronts or bottom floors usually contain businesses. You can find jewelers, smiths, carpenters, potters, apothecaries, painters even. And there's a magic shop. It is called the Essential Enchanter. And then finally, there's a big old garbage heap, the Midden, just west of town. Not too far from the abandoned temple, Pilgrim's Temple.
I guess the first thing to do is going to be to help Odella and Sheldon unload the grains that they got from the Goblin Cave and take them to the market.
Okay, they'll do that. Paxton, he gives you this tour, right? And I assume you're going to head to the inn.
Mm-hmm.
So
I want to ask Gorwolf. Like he seems. You said that there was a note of bitterness in his voice when he talked about the tower. Like, how does he feel about the Magistry?
Don't want to talk about it.
Why not?
I used to be one of them, and they threw me out.
Why did they throw you out?
I don't want to talk about it. I need a drink.
That was your test.
Yeah, he was.
All right. I thought that accent sounded familiar.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
tell you what, I want to go with Gorwolf and get a drink with him and maybe loosen him up.
well, he'll go to the inn with you if you want to have a drink there. He tells you that he used to be an apprentice for a very powerful wizard, and that through events that were no fault of his own, the wizard was robbed, and he was kicked out. He was not able to get anyone to take him back in as an apprentice, so as a result, his full talents were never realized. He never got to develop all of his skills fully, so now he's given up. He begs for his coin. Sometimes he'll do minor magics for money. But yeah, he's very bitter and unhappy man.
Well, I give him another gold piece as I leave.
Wow, he's quite delighted with that. This is more money than he's made in a long time. Maybe I can get back on my feet. I'm too old now I am too old to start again training. But maybe I could have him a farm. I could try farming, but with magic farming.
As he takes another sip of his drink.
Right. Also, I can buy very much beer.
Whatever you want to do, you just have a happy little life, Gorwolf.
All right. While you're in the inn, if you're interested, there are job opportunities in town. That there are job boards and people come through making offers for jobs. So I'll tell you about some of those if you'd be interested. These aren't advertised in your inn. Your inn is too high class for that sort of thing.
Of course.
And by the way, a night in your inn is going to cost. Do you want to share a room, or you want separate rooms?
Well, what's the cost?
Yeah.
A silver per night.
I can spend a silver.
I can spend the silver
Okay.
for my own room, yeah.
All right. And for you, rooms are 5 copper.
Okay,
No, I'm sorry, 3 copper. 3 copper per night. It's
even
cheap.
better.
So there are some job opportunities that Paxton learns about. A guy named Breg Strongfist wants to hire someone to kill a giant pillbug in order to craft its exoskeleton into an amazing armor. The Keepers of Arcane Knowledge, also known as the Magistracy, will pay for guards to protect some supply depots along the aqueduct construction path. There have been some giant blobs attacking them at night, eating the food supplies. There is the old bridge that lies a short ride north of town, and also there's the lake where the river falls into from the sky to the west. All right, so I assume you spend the evening getting some well-earned rest. Your cart is safe when you wake up in the morning. All your wheat, your bushels of wheat are still intact. What's the plan?
Quick question. Are we still level 1?
This is a safe place to rest, right? So you will get your experience and you could level up. You have 212 experience points.
Is that all together?
Each of you has 212. And,
Right.
And I'm going to give you more here in a moment. You just
Right,
have to wait for me to do the calculation.
Well, while we wait, what do you guys want to do in town? I personally just have plans to go to the Magistracy, learn a few extra spells, and see what's going on.
Is there a like a lounge or anything to our hotel? Because I'd probably like
It's
to
a common
hang,
room. There's a room where everyone gathers to eat and drink.
I would like to hang there a bit and see if I can get any information.
You each gain 200 experience points.
Oh, nice. So
you have leveled up.
woo!
So the night passes without problem. You wake up feeling slightly more skilled. It's a wonderful, cool summer day. It's cooler out here near the walls. You meet back up in the morning. What's the plan?
Well, do you guys want to do anything in town? I know that I'll be spending part of the day going out to the tower nearby, seeing the library that the magistracy has here in town, maybe talking with them a little bit, but mostly I'll be spending most of the day with my head inside of a book, learning a few extra spells.
You should try to ask about that guy with the gray cloak, see if he's associated with the keepers.
Yes. Are we all done with Sheldon and Nodella? Are they on their way? Did we set them up? Are they good to go?
You sent them on their way. They're grateful for your help.
I would like to check out an armor shop to see if they have plate mail, and if so, how much.
It will be the textbook cost of plate mail, but it will take time to fit it to you, because plate mail has to be
no haggling.
customized. I'm not going to bother with the haggling. I'll just let's go with the textbook price for now. If you want to try to haggle them down, we could try to do a opposed check.
Because I think it's going to be a very long time then before I can afford some plate mail. Yeah, this plate mail is going to cost 1,500 gold.
1,500?
1,500 gold.
Holy smackaroos.
I do want to still sit around the common room and do a bit of listening, at least while I'm like having breakfast and stuff. But
What are you
other
listening
than
for?
that, just any information about the magistracy, what they're doing.
So here's what you're able to gather about the wizards and what they're doing. They have been moving in and trying to encourage agriculture by building this aqueduct to bring in water from the sea, because this area has been drier since the breaking of the river. They are also encouraging all local wizards to come be trained with them, by them. They start some basic training here and then try to send people to the appropriate academies in other places. Having said that morning, while you're at breakfast, Tara and Finn, as you're listening to conversations and while you're talking to people as well, you're gathering information, the door opens of the inn, and burly-looking, fighter-looking type of fellow comes in, along with a wizard, and they walk straight over to you. And then also, a moment later, the door opens, and your friend in the gray cloak is standing there, and he just watches. And these two people come over to you, and they look at both of you. And one of them says, You got papers, or an amulet, or a tattoo?
But of course, I pull out my my amulet of the magistracy, put a little bit of magic into it, and make the like a sign glow out of it, which is a tree. Half of the tree has fruit and it's organic, and the other half is made out of stone with jewels for transmutation.
All right, the two of them look at each other, and Tara, you don't notice this, but Finn, you notice that the guy in the gray cloak looks surprised. He's looks a little surprised by this, and he says, and the two turn around to look at him, and he just a head jerk, like back out the door, and the two of them say, "All right, you can go about your business."
Wait, that does not mean you get to go about yours. Why do you need to see my paperwork? Where's yours?
Oh well, the wizard pulls out his own amulet and shows it to you.
And why did you need to see my credentials? Your friend over there seems to have been following us for a while. Do you know why he's doing so?
Can't tell you anything about that, but I can tell you that you're welcome in this area if you're a trained wizard. You have a nice day now.
You as well.
And they walk out the door.
So, did we cross from the Free Cities in... Okay.
No, you did not.
Okay.
You are still in what's considered Free Cities territory. So it's a little strange. If Paxton were here, he would know that it's a little strange for them to be checking his credentials. For them to be checking Finn's credentials.
I would assume you all would be aware of where we're at, and that'd be strange to you too, though.
Yeah, I feel like I would be worried about the situation. Would definitely want to find out more about this area.
All right. So eventually, Paxton, since they've got the cart with them, I assume you join them later in the morning. No more sign of the guy in the gray cloak. What's the plan?
Once he tells me about the jobs, can I compare? One of the jobs said that the magistracy was hiring bodyguards to help move equipment over to the building of the aqueduct, correct?
Oh, actually, they want you to guard equipment. They have supply stations or supply depots along the aqueduct, and
I
they
don't.
want
I don't
it
think we
guarded.
got a reward price for any of those, did we?
Nope,
They weren't listed.
they weren't listed.
Okay.
Well, my question is, can I compare... I essentially want to compare the note that we got from the blob, the one that had a list of supplies, with the job to see if it would make sense for the note to have been going towards the job. To see if it was a tunneling job or if something like working on the aqueducts would make sense for the list of items that I found.
You guys walk around town for a bit and look at some of the activity that's going on and the sorts of supplies that are being moved around. And if you look back at that note, I'll scroll back up to it and remind everyone of the things that were on the list. 20 barrels of wine, 2 tons of flour, a half ton of salted beef, pork, or fish, 1/2 ton of dried vegetables, 2 iron mine carts, 40 shovels, 10 5-inch by 5-inch by 10-foot posts per week, and then clothing for, and then it cut out. So, among the things that you see being moved around here, some of the stuff on this list, sure, is being moved around. There's wine and flour and food supplies. You don't see any mine carts or any call for mine carts. And these posts don't seem like the kind of posts they use for scaffolding when they're building aqueducts.
Okay.
So it doesn't seem like it's necessarily the same thing, but it could be related.
Okay. Well, seeing that I hadn't really found anything a little exasperated from it, I just want to go find some recluse in the library. And I'll let them know that I will find them later.
All right, you're looking in the library. Other things that are worth looking into around the area, I've mentioned them before, but there's a magic shop. There's the abandoned Pilgrim's Temple. There is the bridge itself. There's the lake area, and then you've got a couple job offers.
I'm going to go look at the lake area.
So that's going to be a bit of travel to get there. It's west of town. So I'll assume that do you want to go there by yourself?
Yeah, I'm brave. I'll do it.
Okay. So
I guess I can ask Paxton if he wants to come.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
So the two of you decide to take a walk toward the area that's called the Dead Lake, and the pathway there is called the Pilgrim's Trail. The Pilgrim's Trail is it's a decent length walk, probably maybe a half day. So you take some food with you. As you take this walk over there, the landscape grows increasingly barren. The trail looks like it hasn't been used lately, and the temperature continues to fall as you move in that direction. The ground in the area, as I said, it grows increasingly barren to the point where at some point there is basically no foliage at all, no plants of any kind. And as you cross over a small hill, you climb up a small hill, on the other side you see into this massive valley. And you can see the water falling from the sky out of the glass wall of the world into this giant lake spread ahead of you. And the sound as you climb up above this hill is when the water does hit the lake, it comes with some delay because of the distance, but it's really loud. It's deafening as the water hits the lake. And you can see all around the lake, there is no sign of plant life, except for occasional little bits here and there. And the water looks murky. It looks brackish. It does not look like what you would expect a healthy lake should look like.